Hello guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be about taking an F3 year. So I am currently on an F3 year, or coming towards the end of my F3 year. So I thought I should share some tips about making the most of your F3 year. And I've said F3 year a lot. So what is an F3 year? So an F3 year is basically when a junior doctor takes some time out. It's usually like a natural career break after their foundation training. You can take time out during specialty training, but I think it's just a bit more tricky to do so. As we've talked about, you can take this time out after your F2, and some people take it for 1 year, which is why it's called an F3 year. Some people can take it for more. Some people do take it for more, so it gets called like an F4 year, an F5 year, and these are all unofficial terms because there's no training pathway in that time that you've taken out. As time has gone on, the number of doctors taking a break after the F2 year has increased. So it was 71.3% of doctors were proceeding straight to specialty training after F2 in 2011, and in 2018 this had dropped to 37.7% of doctors. As I've said, I decided to take an F3 year and I've spent it doing different sorts of things, which I will talk about, and there are lots of things you can do in an F3 year. I took mine for a number of reasons. For a break, you know, I'm blessed to do the job that I do, but it's intense, and this natural career break I thought I should make the most of. So I've been doing some resting, I've been doing some traveling pre-coronavirus, and I've also been working part-time and pursuing other interests like this YouTube channel. You can take the F3, 4, 5 years for as long as you want. Some people decide to not go into specialty training, some people decide to leave medicine, some people stay in like medicine but non-clinical areas, so there's lots of things you can do with it. Usually though, after 3 years, if you do want to go back into specialty training here in the UK, it can get a bit more tricky. So it is possible to take more time, and I've met doctors who have done that and have been able to show their foundation competencies again, but just bear in mind that it'll be like a lot more form filling and having to show that you are clinically competent still. What can you do during your F3 year? Pretty much whatever you want. But bear in mind though, some specialties, that is if you're planning to go into specialty training, can penalise you for taking this time out, and they will want you to justify it. To be fair, I think most specialty applications want you to justify it, but I think you can pretty much spin whatever experience you do and show the transferable skill as to how it will help to make you a better doctor. For specialties like surgery, that can go against you, because before you apply for specialty training, you can only do like a max amount of time in surgical specialties before it then starts getting tricky and you have to apply via different routes. So that's something to bear in mind if you do want to go specifically into certain specialties. That's if you know what specialty you want to do, because one of the reasons people take this F3 year is because they're not actually sure what specialty they want to apply to yet. So it gives them a bit more time to get some experience. In your time out, a lot of people still choose to work. So you can either work as a locum, so working as and when is needed, or you could actually do locum work full-time, or you could do it part-time, but some people might just prefer to have like a fixed post, and you can apply for like a clinical fellowship. It could be a teaching clinical fellowship, or it could be like a research fellowship where you get to do clinical work alongside doing some special interests such as teaching and research. And during that time in your chosen specialty, and for some applications it might actually put you give you sort of like a foot up, because it shows that you are really interested in this specialty, that you've taken a year out to sort of focus on it during this time, and it helps you to have like a stronger application. Some people take the time out to study, so you could do a master's. Some people might even do a PhD. Some people might do like a completely like unrelated thing, go to cooking school, or you know, something different, but using that time to study. And that's the flexibility of having this break. You can do what you want with it. So quite a few people use this time out to work and save. So some people might be saving towards paying for a wedding, or buying a house, or starting a business. And when you work as a locum, you are able to get higher rates of pay sometimes, so that will help them to save more money than they would if they were in a training post. So a lot of people choose to do that for a limited amount of time. So this is one that I wanted to do a lot of during my F3 year, but as life would have it, things changed. So I was trying to do a lot of traveling in my F3 year, and I did do some traveling, which I'm grateful for. So I went to like Croatia, and I went to, where else did I go to? I went to Morocco, I went to Amsterdam, I went to Nice, but I also had a lot more trips planned, but obviously shut down after coronavirus, rightly so, meant that I had a lot of trips cancelled. But I thank God for life, you know, and I pray that I will still get these opportunities to travel later on. During this time out, some people decide to pursue sort of things completely outside of medicine. So management, consultancy, going into business, I mean, doing pottery, whatever you want to do, you know, this year gives you the flexibility to do that. Some people still want to stay in medicine because, you know, they love medicine, but they don't want to do clinical work. And then they might decide to, let's say, do some medical writing or work in like the digital health space. So yeah, or start a like medic related business. It gives you the flexibility to do that. So you can choose to do what you want to do in this time. Just do your research, pursue like your interests, and do what it is that you would love to do if you were otherwise like fixed to a training post. You can still do it in a training post, to be fair, but it just gets a bit more difficult, especially if you're doing on-calls, you're doing nights, weekends, things like that. Training does take up a lot of your time, especially in the early stages. For some specialties it's like forever, man, but it's something that you have to think about. Ooh, I forgot to mention, some people still choose to do medical, like clinical work, but choose to do that abroad. So some people decide to go to Australia, New Zealand. Those tend to be the popular ones here from the UK, people deciding to do that either for a fixed period of time and then coming back. Some people end up staying on, which, you know, is great too. But you can also choose to do work abroad. So a lot of people can go on mission trips, which is one of the things I was thinking about doing. But again, with the travel restrictions at this time, I won't be able to do it. Hopefully later on I'll be able to do that. And another major one for me, I've touched upon it already, is just taking that time to rest. You know, after the busy years of medical school, foundation training, when you have this opportunity to just have that time to rest, not think about, you know, training and think about this and think about that. It just gives you time to like clear your head, and to reevaluate what it is you want to do, whether, you know, you want to continue with clinical medicine, which most people end up doing, or what specialty it is you want to do, or whether you want to make sure that it's a priority that you pursue other things, other interests apart from your clinical work. It gives you the time to just rest, gives you time to spend with family, friends, travel, and I've really enjoyed my F3 year. It's coming to an end, but I'm so grateful for it, even though plans were like disorganized by coronavirus. It's still been a really good time, and I would recommend, you know, I don't know, GMC and hospitals and people want me to say this because obviously they need people to work. The thing is, most of us end up still working in the NHS while we do this. So yeah, it's a really good opportunity, and one that I would recommend taking. Yeah. One tip I would say is to plan ahead. So in your F2 year, start thinking about what it is you want to possibly do if you want to take an F3 year. So you'll know this by about October, November anyways, because if you decide to apply for specialty training for the next year, you would have had to do it then. And if you haven't done that, then you know you are taking some time out, so you're taking an F3 year. You can still decide to apply for specialty training and then take an F3 year as long as you don't accept the post, and some specialties actually let you defer your training post. So GP does that as well, and some people like to actually do that because it means that you're not applying during your time out. So that was something I had to take into consideration because I was applying for jobs during my F3 year. So it meant that I knew I had to be in the country for this period of time while applications and interviews, because I applied for an academic post as well. I needed to be around in the country to be able to take like at the end like specialty exams and things. So it kind of like capped my traveling in that time a little bit. So yeah, you could decide to then apply in F2 for some specialties, so that gives you that whole year flexibility to do what you want to do. Things like applying for a locum agency or applying for a job in finance or management consultancy or organising work abroad will need you to do that at least a few months beforehand so that you could go through the interview process, things like that. So yes, do your research a little bit, and well, a lot actually, if you're able to be able to make the most of that time, because before you know it, guys, it's gone. It's like, how am I at the end of my F3 year already? So yes, do try and plan ahead so you make the most of this time out. If you took an F3 year or you're planning to take an F3 year, feel free to comment below what you did or what you're planning to do, so you know people can get some inspiration. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this has been a little bit useful despite my mini ramblings. All the best with everything. Bye.